How do you guys feel about Jaylen Green? Obviously a highly rated prospect. I love his first step, but I just don't think like he's not a good enough player for what Houston has happening. I mean, they've just got better young guys who need to touch the ball, and I feel like a change of scenery for him. And it's funny, not in a negative way, but more in an opportunity way. He's not good enough to demand the touches where he's at. If you were Houston, would you be looking to cut bait and maybe bolster your team a little bit?
This is it's funny because it's almost a similar question in terms of like, well, who wants him and who should want him might be different questions, because I think he's a guy who I think it's fair to say he was in one of the worst development environments in the league for his first couple of years. And so where is he going to go that is both on the timeline that fits with waiting for him and can offer him an environment where, like, harnessing kind of some of the talent and turning it into a useful, probably role filling rather than, we haven't completely crossed this Rubicon yet, but I think it's more likely than not that he's not a number one option on a good team.
Is he like new Jamal Crawford? Like, could he wind up being like 6th man of the year candidate every single year because he can come
points,
and give you 18? I mean, this is what I'm saying about Jalen, right? Like, number one, the defense, it just isn't there. The shooting's not there. You know, I just don't think he's a good enough shooter. Now he can score because he can get to the basket, and I think he can draw fouls, but he can't do that at a high level. Like you said, he can't be your number one option.
And can he do that in context of like my overwhelming impression of Jaylen Green is still like the first summer league game where he and Cade Cunningham matched up, and just the difference between, now people have said that Cade plays a little too slow, but Cade would catch the ball, triple threat survey thing would happen. Jaylen Green would catch the ball, immediately start pounding it and looking to get his own. And he has improved in that area, but by this point in his career, not enough that I have confidence that he can play within a concept with other good players, because he's never been in that in Houston. And now that they have a little bit more to go around, he's kind of struggled to adjust. It was like, oh wait, Alperen Sengun is actually the guy this team is building around.
Yeah, I think this is a player that got completely screwed by the organization that drafted him. Just in that bad luck of the way things went and no structure. He needed that coming in. He needed to kind of be put on some sort of track of, this is going to be how you're going to build in your NBA career. And instead he was put out in the let's play basketball kind of situation. And I think that's been detrimental to his career. And, I think Ime would be a good coach for him, but that has to be on him willing to change. But like, it's hard, man. Like a change of scenery might be where it goes, but like where, like he can Charlotte, maybe just go, and go back to the kind of mentality, or like, if like, I don't know if a place like Miami would be good for him, but like he's getting the same. I think Ime is kind of just as tough as Spo in that sense, but maybe it's just there's so much damage and baggage in Houston that he has to be taken somewhere else. Like, it's a tough situation for them. He's talented, but like,
yeah, I was gonna say part of this is talent on his own team, though. It's pecking order, right? Like, he's of the prospects on that team. I mean, where do you rank him? 3rd, 4th? Do you know what I mean? Like, of the young guys, you got Sengun, you got Jabari Smith, you got
Amen
Thompson, and then you're thinking about Jalen Green. I just, again, the issue comes up when we get to contract time, right? We're getting, and the earlier you can make these decisions on guys, this is sort of like firing your coach. The earlier you fire your coach that you've decided is not the guy, and you get the guy that you think is the guy, the better you are. Same with players. And ultimately, with a guy like Jalen Green, it could be better for him to get him out early, because he has a chance to, rehab his value for his next contract. So there's a lot of reasons that it could be mutually beneficial. I just don't know a good landing spot for Jalen Green. When you look around the league, like, I mean, he's a small guard. He doesn't defend. How many teams need that guy in a young prospect? It feels like that, though there are a lot of young prospects that fit that mold already, and they're better than Jalen Green at it.
That's just Portland's MO. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say,
Yeah.
Portland has 8 of those guys.
I mean, there's a broader question here, but sort of the hard part here is like he is in like the meat of this is some research I'm doing for an upcoming thing on The Athletic, and like I had to break it down into just one discrete skill, which is looking at shooting. Like, when is it too late to give up on a guy becoming either a respectable or even a weapon as a 3-point shooter if he struggles early in his career? And really, for the inflection point for a lot of guys is second, third, fourth year. So he's right in the mid. I can't necessarily, because it's harder to measure some other skill areas. I can't really say that's overall where it is, but he's like right in the meat of that, where if it's still not happening, it's not going to happen. And this came up with respect, first looking at like, all right, Scoot hasn't shot, speaking of Portland, Scoot Henderson hasn't shot the ball well. That's not really a ton to worry about in his rookie year. Whereas a guy like Jalen Suggs, who shot terribly his first couple of years and has been pretty good this year, is sort of an undercovered story, I think, is his development. And it's like, okay, it hasn't been enough shots to conclude that he's now a competent 3-point shooter, but it would not be unusual for a guy to make that switch at the point in his career that Suggs is. And so that's the problem with Jalen Green, is he's right in that period of it could still happen, but it also might not.
It's tricky. You guys ready to move on to the next?
It's just a tough spot for him, Dave. And I'm thinking more, it's better for him, like you were saying, for him that they cut bait versus the organization.
Yeah, it's just, I mean, again, man, it's just tough. There's been a lot of small guards the last few years, and I don't know. I just don't know what happens with Jalen Green.